From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, security gang. Happy Monday for those that actually had a weekend. And welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast, Monday, July 22nd, 2024. For those that have worked hard all through the weekend to recover from Friday's massive outage, hats off to all of y'all. And if you finished really early this morning to get business back up and running, and you might be driving home right now or just making sure everyone's up and running before you head to the office and get some much needed sleep, thank you. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Nudge Security. You're going to hear more from them later on in the show. Really excited about some of their new features. So can't wait for y'all to see that and hear more about it later. So we've got a packed show for all of y'all today, right? We're going to get to the facts behind the CrowdStrike outage. Yes, there are facts behind this specific outage. There are good, there's bad, and there's the ugly. We're going to get into all of that on today's show, as well as the WazirX crypto theft that's crippling the India crypto market, and a SolarWinds update, among everything else that's going on. So without further ado, join me for our traditional power through the show. I've got my double espresso right here in this styrofoam cup that I will be surely recycling after the show. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. I prefer glass, but nonetheless, it's what I've got. I don't trust glass in like Airbnbs. I don't know. Tell me what your thoughts are. All right. Let's start off with the CrowdStrike outage that really happened Friday. I did a special episode Friday morning. You can see that at the end of this YouTube video. If you're watching us on YouTube, LinkedIn, it's posted. Everywhere else you're watching X, it's just the previous video. So Microsoft on Saturday said that 8.5 million Windows devices were impacted by the faulty software update from CrowdStrike that triggered the ID outage that crippled airports. I mean, I was speaking to a friend of mine at the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, one of the busiest airport in the world. 130 million people go through that airport every single year. People were strolled out sleeping on the floors over the weekend. Weekend plans completely destroyed. Vacations that were delayed by a day or two as the airlines were scrambling to get passengers back on flights, and recovery is looking to probably be done by Wednesday of this week to hopefully be at an equilibrium of zero, meaning anyone who's had their flights canceled on Friday and in a Saturday are back up now and should be at their destination no later than Wednesday. Microsoft released a USB tool on Saturday to help IT admins expedite the repair process for Windows clients and servers impacted by the Falcon agent issue. To use the tools, users must have a Windows 64-bit client with at least 8 gig of free space from which the tool can be run to create a bootable USB drive along with admin privileges on the Windows client. With less than 1% of all Windows machines being impacted, Microsoft says it is deploying hundreds of its engineers and experts to work directly with customers to restore services. And that's the good. Here's the good. The entire cybersecurity community and IT community came together to go through this. We're going to get to the bad and the ugly, but this is one of those heartwarming moments where Microsoft really, whether carries some responsibility or no responsibility at all, that still remains to be seen, right? We don't know how and why this happened. We don't know if there was a potential QA done on the CrowdStrike end that was done on an older version of Windows. Windows was recently updated or not at all, or pushed through. I mean, there's a lot of questions that still remain unanswered. The incident is, the mainstream media is like using chaos, disaster, one of the worst cyber failures. And no, it's an update history. It's an IT issue. It's a software issue. It's not a cyber issue. A cyber issue would be a cyber attack. The fact that a cybersecurity company caused the issue is the true culmination of the issue. A cybersecurity update pushed out to Windows endpoints caused this outage. To say that this caused chaos and a disaster and it's not a cyber failure, it's a software failure on a cybersecurity product. And it goes back to the software ecosystem and the idea of that inner cooperation that CIS has been trying to build since Director Easterly took the helm at the organization. So here's what we know. This is kind of there's been a whole bunch of workarounds. By the way, if you're looking for all of this, it's available on our Substack. If you go to jamesazar.substack.com, you can see it there as well. CrowdStrike, for their end, are going through this, but threat actors didn't remain complacent. In fact, they saw this as an opportunity and are now exploiting it. Threat actors are exploiting this disruption with the glitchy update by essentially mimicking recovery tools that are just essentially malware and wiper malware and backdoors. George Kurtz, the CEO over at CrowdStrike, who, again, one part of the good was he took front and center. He didn't hide behind a PR statement. He didn't hide behind an X post. The guy went right on TV. He answered every question he was asked. Mind you, some of them were softball questions, but nonetheless, he still did it. He's saying, I encourage everyone to remain vigilant and ensure you're engaging with official CrowdStrike representatives. Our blog and technical support will continue to be the official channels for the latest update. The UK National Cybersecurity Center also warned it observed an increase in phishing messages aimed to take advantage of the outage. Automated malware analysis platform AnyRun noticed an increase in attempts at impersonating CrowdStrike that could potentially lead to phishing. On Saturday, cybersecurity researchers Gonjaxa first reported a malware campaign targeting BBVA bank customers that offered a free CrowdStrike hotfix update that installs the Remcos RAT. That hotfix was promoted through a phishing site, which pretended to be a BBVA intranet portal. So anyone also tweeted about the same campaign. So threat actors were on it right off the bat. You want to make sure you continue to keep visibility there as well. That's significant. Now let's get to the bad and the ugly here, because we talked about the good, right? The community coming together. We've talked about the leadership from the CrowdStrike leadership. Every single one of them went on social media. Every single one of them was answering questions. They were showing up. They did what someone in a leadership position would do. Here's the bad. This is going to happen. And that's the bad and ugly truth. It's going to happen not only to CrowdStrike, but to everyone else. Anyone else who posted something saying, if you only had us, it wouldn't have happened to you. I would wait. History's not very kind to those types of posts, hence see Kaspersky. However, here's the bad and here's the ugly. Technically, why and how did this bypass QA? Why was this push beyond test environments of customers? I was looking through some YouTube videos, some Reddit channels. People were sending me stuff as well. This overrode our internal QA process. Why and how? And that's going to be a question that I think is going to transform our industry. It's going to transform our industry significantly going forward. I think every CEO, every CTO, every CIO is looking at their CISO, it's looking at their CIO, they're looking at their change management and saying, why are we allowing auto updates that can override our own testing and security controls and processes that we have in place in order to ensure this doesn't happen, that we're able to stop it and able to work with the vendor to get a fix. And I think that's going to be the critical change that we're going to see come out of this after all the dust settles, right? That's just going to be it. Additionally, here's the ugly. And the ugly is ugly, folks. Here's the thing. There's been a significant failure on our end to go from, like, were they patching a 0-day that they overrode those? Did they skip through a bunch of QA to get an update out because maybe they were patching something so significant within Falcon that it needed to get pushed out that very moment? And number two, was that communicated to all of the customers? Was the Falcon update communicated effectively to all the customers? And people I've spoken with, some said, we didn't even know that update was coming. We had no clue. It just got pushed out. We had the blue screen of death on our window machines. And again, those are questions that need to be answered. We don't know the facts, and I'm not going to make assumptions. I won't. And the reason I don't make assumptions on the show is one, for two reasons. One, it doesn't help you any. And number two, it doesn't help you any. Right? What I don't know, I don't know. And that's one of the things we have to admit to. We don't know the full facts yet. And there's that. All right. That's it for our CrowdStrike. SolarWinds got a really, really big update here. But before we do that, here's a really, really awesome message from our friends over at Nudge Security. Do you know who's experimenting with AI in your organization? Our friends over at Nudge Security have come up with a patented approach for SaaS discovery, giving you a full inventory of all apps ever introduced by anyone in your organizations, and all in minutes. This includes Gen AI applications. The best part is you don't even have to know what you're looking for. You simply do a quick one-time setup, so easy, no change management required, no browser plugins, no network proxies, no agent. Nudge Security is going to discover and categorize every SaaS and cloud account ever created by anyone in your organization. You can get a free 14-day trial today. You'll get a full list of all Gen AI apps and users. You'll get insights into their security posture, compliance certification, breach history, and more, so you can quickly vet new AI tools and guide users towards a secure alternative. Take control of Gen AI security risks today by going to nudgesecurity.com/cyberhub, nudgesecurity.com/cyberhub to start your free 14-day trial today. All right. Thanks to our friend at Nudge for their support of the program. Go check that out, nudgesecurity.com/cyberhub to get your 14-day trial. Check this out. All right. WazirX's cyber attack led to $230 million from one of their multi-sig wallets being drained by cyber criminals. This follows a suspension by the company of withdrawals after the wallet's private keys were compromised here. To recover the funds lost to WazirX cyber attack, the company launched a bug bounty program. Really, two factors to the bug bounty program: a track and freeze route, where they're offering up to $10,000 in USDT for actionable intelligence that leads to the freezing of the stolen funds. The second is a white hat recovery, offers 10% of the reward, 10% reward of the recovered amount, with a maximum of $23 million to the white hat hackers who assist in recovering the stolen assets. This is a huge for the crypto community in India. The bounty program will be active for at least 3 months. However, they could shorten it if they recover the funds earlier, or extend it if they can't recover everything and believe more time would help them in doing so. The bounty is open to all individuals except current or former WazirX employees and their immediate family members. To qualify, participants must provide detailed submissions, including addresses, transactions, and tracking and recovery methodologies. Additionally, all participants are required to maintain confidentiality and refrain from sharing any information with third parties. Following the attack on WazirX, the company has implemented several immediate and comprehensive measures to address this situation. They've had to do all of their internal filings. They've also reached out to over 500 other exchanges to help identify addresses linked to the theft. Many are cooperating in the recovery efforts there as well. To ensure the safety right now, there's no deposits and no withdrawals taking place. And again, this is a big, big blow of this specific crypto exchange there. $230 million drained. We'll see if they're able to withstand that business-wise. More there as well. Now we'll move to SolarWinds, where the district court judge dismissed most of the charges in the civil fraud case against the SolarWinds. However, the one thing he left on, the trust page. That's right. If you're a CISO, pay close attention to this. The dismissal of the allegations of misleading investors leading up to the Sunburst attack back in December of 2020 have all essentially been dismissed. Judge Paul Engelmeyer of the U.S. District Court of the U.S. Court Southern District of New York sustained the SEC claims of securities fraud based on SolarWinds' security statement. However, the court dismissed other claims, including all claims involving post-Sunburst disclosures. The court also dismissed claims related to the company's internal accounting and disclosure controls and procedures as ill-pled. Allegations related to the 2017 statement made about the company's security capabilities in the Trust Center will continue to be litigated. Pay close attention to this. If you've got a trust page and you haven't spoken to legal today, you may want to do so. This is significant because right now, the only thing they're being held to, the standard, is what's in your trust page. Let that sink in. I'm not saying people mislead in the trust page, but the statements in the trust page are typically fairly vague, and the court's going to litigate those vague statements, and that's going to be significant. That's going to be extremely significant going forward in many many situations. The original Trust Center statement was actually put out in 2017. And the court's filing alleged that Tim Brown, who was hired as VP of Security and later became CISO, was primarily responsible for creating and approving the statement. So they're still holding him accountable for that statement. So there's that. SolarWinds, on their end, has also fixed 8 critical vulnerabilities in the Access Rights Manager software, 6 of which allowed attackers to gain remote code executions. The remote code execution vulnerabilities are CVE 2024-23469 or 23466, 23467, 28074, 23471, and 23470, all rated a 9.6 out of 10. You want to make sure you get that updated. A cyber criminal gang that researchers tracked as Revolver Rabbit has registered more than 500,000 domain names for InfoStealer campaigns that target Windows and Mac OS systems. The threat actor is distributing the X-Loader info-stealing malware, the successor of Formbook, with variants of Windows and Mac OS systems to collect sensitive information and execute malicious code. You can see the domains are are typically easy to read, appear to focus on a particular topic or region. And you can see that all here. So take a look at that. You'll see that more in the show notes. I'm just going to speed through this, folks, as we're a bit over time, and I want to be mindful of that. The mysterious and covert Chinese group Ghost Emperor has resurfaced after being gone for 2 years with far more advanced capabilities and evasion techniques that were initially discovered by Kaspersky in 2021. Ghost Emperor was notorious for targeting telecoms and government entities in Southeast Asia through supply chain attacks. The group's recent activities were uncovered by Signia, which detailed the group's evolved attack methods in a report released this week. And you can see that report in our show notes and on our Substack. And authorities in the UK announced the arrest of a 17-year-old suspected of being involved in cyber attacks against multiple organizations, including the MGM Resort. The teenager was arrested in Walsall as part of the global investigation into the large scale cybercrime group known for hacking large organizations. This is Scattered Spider, by the way, for those who don't know. The suspect was taken into custody on suspicion of blackmail and Computer Misuse Act offenses and has been released on bail while they continue with their inquiries. Being a minor, his name has not been released and shouldn't be the case until he's a grown adult. That's it for our show this morning. You can go and check out more on our Substack, jamesazar.substack.com. Go get your free 14-day Nudge Security trial at nudgesecurity.com/cyberhub. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. And most importantly, we'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, live with all the latest. Till then, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.